Lightworkers and Healing. Here I found a channel on YouTube where they have a video on an interview that was done with a lightworker, and discussing with this lightworker her guide to healing grief. So she's basically an author of this book on the guide to healing grief. Now, here this lady is explaining how one can use energy and healing and, work with metaphysics to be able to heal yourself through experiences of grief. What is not taken into consideration here by lightworkers is the following. Why do people experience things like grief and stress and pain and suffering and such things? If you look at the predominant experience of people within this world, you will see that pain and suffering is not just caused by things like losing a family member or a partner or whatever. The majority of experiences of people which leads to grief and experiences like depression and things like that is caused by your inability to effectively take care of yourself in this world. That is caused by how we have to live and what we have to do in this world to be able to take care of ourselves. So the amount of stress that is placed on people in, for example, economic situations is immense. I mean, look at yourself growing up, and myself as well. You're a child, you're pretty innocent, you run around and you play. Either at some stage as a child you observe something happening to a family member or a friend, and you will perceive their experience of themselves, and you will take that in, and those situations are usually either marital problems, and those problems again come down to people's dishonesties. Now, the dishonesties that people experience within marriage and within people's way of living life has been something that all of us have agreed to, whether it is that you as a child observed that mommy and daddy are fighting because daddy had an affair, or daddy has to work long hours, or mommy has childhood depression which she's still dealing with. Every single experience that you can think of that you trace back to what you observed as a child, anything, you will find that it has its root cause within how humans allow their own inner experiences. So whether daddy had an affair or mommy had problems, or whatever it is, if you go and look at the person you were observing as a child, that person had inner experiences that they were going through, right? That means it has a core within the being. Same with, let's say, you as a child observed mommy and daddy had financial problems. The core problem here is the money system. So we are now looking at you as a child observed actual events happening due to actual core experiences, either within people or within how people experience themselves because of an external world system. So you grow up and you yourself would meet a partner, you might get married, start having children, the usual thing. And what happens to you as you grow up? You start having similar experiences. Relationship issues, money issues, friendship problems. Your ego is like this, your personality is like that. Each person basically is programmed differently, but yet the same, because every person is fighting for survival as the mind. Now, what lightworkers are presenting here is they are presenting a way of covering up and dealing with grief and pain and stress by using the metaphysical. Now, if something was based on the actual core issue within reality, it would not be called metaphysical. It would be called, here, let us take on the economic systems. Let us take on the money system and why it works the way it does, causing people to fear loss, to fear not having food. Let's take on the inner structures of the human mind, which is the reason why people do what they do, which is why people experience the stresses and the problems that they do, whether it is the person themselves or the spouse or the children that now have to observe the conflict that is going on in the marriage because daddy did this or mommy did this. So if you observe, for example, and you sit with pen and paper and you write down your own childhood experiences and everything that you observed growing up, even up to the point now where you can relate your own experiences of grief and stress and sorrow, you will always find that whatever is happening inside of you, first of all, as an emotional reaction to what's going on in your world, first of all, that's a point where one can start working. Then you can see, okay, look, my inner experience has developed to the point where it is now because I am reacting to what is going on in my world. What is it that is going on in my world? The following factors are going on in my world. Now, why are we dealing with it, as the Lightworkers suggest, on a metaphysical information level, dealing with it on an energetic level? I mean, what difference does it make if I go and I'm having an experience of difficulty dealing with my family life because my husband cheated on me, or I am worried that I'm going to lose my job? What point is there in dealing with the energy of that concept? What point is there in looking at the metaphysical, which is look at it. The metaphysical is where we have, over time, taken the physical reality events and we have given it a meaning, some special meaning other than what it is. So, for example, for those who don't know what metaphysics is, metaphysics will be the alternate information reality that runs alongside this physical reality. So to give you an example, I stub my toe right now. On a physical level, I stubbed my toe because I did not look and I was preoccupied and I stubbed it into the table. Okay. On a metaphysical level, one would then go and look at, what am I stubbing up against? What am I not taking into consideration? What am I not looking at? The toe, you would go and in your metaphysical books, you would, for example, look at the toe, whether it's left or right side of the foot, what toe it is. You could even be as specific as what point on toe it is, and that represents, for example, if you look at on the left, it's emotional. I stubbed my second toe, which deals with moving forward and letting go of the past. So where am I not allowing myself to let go of the past and keep bumping into aspects of my past, and I'm not willing to look at them? There you have an example of the metaphysics. So your light workers will deal with things on the metaphysical level. So let's say, for example, a wife is worried and she is in a stressful, grief-stricken state because her husband died and now she can't provide for her family. Now she is experiencing grief. The light worker will go and look at that on an energetic level and try and heal and balance the person according to the energies in their world. Instead of looking at, okay, over time we've created this reality from a certain energetic perspective, meaning you are, due to how we have been designed, according to the soul construct, according to chakras and energy, the mind conscious system working on energy, you could look at that you generate energy inside yourself in relation to your world. Okay? And having studied kinesiology myself, I worked with how to balance and align energies and stuff like that. But then looking at it again years later, I realized, look, I'm missing an important point here, because while I am dealing with energies and chakras and soul and life paths and stuff like that, I'm not actually taking into consideration that the core issue of what is actually going on could actually be resolved if we take on the reason why we do things in the first place, not dealing with the energy that is generated by it afterwards. That's the whole reason why this world is a screw up, because all of us are busy participating in the energy, meaning generating energetic reactions within ourselves in relation to our world. But remember, the world is already happening because we are participating in it. So if we stop as the one creating the world by taking self-responsibility for our inner experiences, if we stop there and we stop how we have to respond to our environment by changing the world systems which are supposed to support us, then isn't that the actual solution, instead of dealing with metaphysics and energy over here and healing over there? I mean, what are you actually healing? You're not healing anything. Light workers think that they are healing, but what are you actually doing? You are leaving the core issues that people experience within their world: deception, lies, ego, the desire for survival, the desire, just to feed your family. Stuff like that gets ignored completely. In other words, light workers leave the system as it is. They leave human nature as it is, because they themselves are addicted to, let's look at it for what it is, they themselves are addicted to energy. And energy comes from believing in love, and love has the opposite polarity of hate. So light workers keep the world systems in place which actually cause people in the first place to experience what they experience, the emotions and turmoil and all that stuff. But then they will present solutions as if it is real, meaning, let's alleviate your energetic experience of sorrow, but let's not look at why you have sorrow. Let's not change the system so that one day nobody has to experience that again. Wouldn't that be nice if we all took on the core human dishonesties and the core systems of the world that don't support us, and change those so that they never have to be changed again? I mean, if we had a money system that supported everybody equally from birth, wouldn't that be lovely? How many people would then be able to live and not have to go through traumatic, stressful experiences, which now the light workers are attempting to alleviate by shifting the energetic experience of the person so that they feel numb. They don't feel the grief and the sorrow anymore. That's all that you're actually doing. You're suppressing. So that is my perspective in relation to reality versus energy and metaphysics. Thank you very much.